Hello and welcome to Perspectives on the Voice of America. I'm Dimyake Mwakaliele. As the U.S. presidential race garners increasing media attention, many are raising the issue of balanced media coverage of the candidates. Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama's recent trip to Europe and the Middle East made headlines daily and topped nearly every newscast. As many as 40 American journalists, as well as foreign journalists, accompanied Obama on the trip, adding to the extensive media coverage. In contrast, Republican presidential candidate John McCain's campaign activities received minimal attention by the U.S. media, prompting advisors to claim a media bias against the U.S. Senator for Arizona. Now, joining me on the phone to discuss Senator John McCain's candidacy is Fred Oladende of the Foundation for Democracy in Africa. Welcome to Perspectives, Mr. Oladende.
Thank you very much, Dimyake.
Thank you. I guess there's no real dispute in the fact that Mr. Obama has received a lot of coverage, but would you say that Mr. McCain has received less or more unfavorable coverage?
I think if you speak with the McCain campaign, that will be their point of view, and which somehow has some facts to it. But the fact that Senator Obama got such a lot of attention is expected. That, in fact, if you may, was his first foreign international trip as the presumptive nominee of his party, and so he got such attention. But having said all of that, if we take a look at what has happened since Senator Obama was in Europe, you would also see that the campaign, the McCain campaign, has been able to do a lot of work here in the United States to position their candidate.
Now, Mr. Oladende, also it seems as though, despite all this coverage that Mr. Obama is getting, they are really very competitive in the polls in terms of how they're favored by the general public. What do you make of that?
It is just the fact that the primary season is over. We are now looking at the last 100 days before the election, and each of the campaign would have to present issues that their candidates have that will convince the American people that that's the next president. So it's going to be very competitive from now on, particularly after the convention. And the election is still far ahead of us. And as you know, it will take the independents to be able to kind of put one candidate ahead of the other.
Now, is there anything that Mr. McCain needs to do to revamp or boost his campaign strategy? It has been criticized as being kind of weak. Do you agree with that?
I don't. I don't think he's weak, and neither do I think that, and I still believe there's a lot of work that he has to do. As an analyst, I think both Senator McCain and Senator Obama has a lot of work ahead of them once they get out of the convention. But what is very interesting, Dimyake, is if you take a look at some of the important states in the next coming election, take a look at Michigan, take a look at Colorado, take a look at Ohio and Minnesota. I mean, if you remember, Minnesota was the state that put Ventura as his governor. That we are seeing the McCain campaign being able to position their candidate in a way that they are gradually getting the support of the electorate in those states.
Now, both these candidates seem to enjoy pockets of support, whereas when it comes to Mr. McCain, he seems to have the support of the white voters, particularly the men, but not so much with the minority voters, the blacks or the Latinos. How significant are they to his campaign success, and also what does he have to do to reach out to them?
Every vote is important, and I can assure you, Dimyake, that during this coming election, that both the McCain campaign and the Obama campaign will fight tooth and nail to ensure that they get every possible vote. But having said all of that, I think Senator McCain campaign would also be looking to see how they can bring the Reagan Democrats into the fold. As you know, that is a huge chunk, and normally if you if the McCain campaign is able to reach out to the Reagan Democrats, it would make a change.
Well, Mr. Oladende, thank you so much for your insights on that. Obviously, people are following these elections very closely.
Thank you very much, Dimyake, but I'm sure the next 100 days will be very interesting, and it's still a toss-up in terms of who will be the next president of the United States.
Well, we'll be watching. That's all from us here at Perspectives. Until tomorrow, I'm Dimyake Mwakalialia for the Voice of America.